everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I'm Anita Mateo, a Cuban living in Galicia, Spain. On this channel, I share my experiences and what I learn, including what I like and don't like about Spain, though I haven't found many things I dislike yet. And well, a little more about my current reality compared to my reality in my home country, Cuba. As all of you know, and that's exactly what today's video is going to be about. Today we're going to talk about something, a topic that, from the title, might seem pretty controversial, but you'll understand what we're going to be talking about in this video. So I invite you to subscribe down below, give this video a like, because I know you're really going to enjoy it. Or at the very least, it's going to make you reflect a little on how reality can be so different in various countries. Whether you're a professional or not, or working in any field, how can you prosper in life? Or maybe you can't. So stay tuned, because today I have a very special guest. Here is Gretel Hello. Subscribe to her channel. We'll be making a video for both her channel and mine. She's a frequent guest here, but it's been a while since we recorded together. What do you think of today's video title? Whew!
People should watch the video to form their own opinions after seeing everything.
Decide for yourself. Don't judge by the title alone.
Yes, please.
So, well, as you read in the title, we're going to be talking about why it's better, as the title says. Why is it better to be poor in Spain than a professional in Cuba? But let's not discuss poverty itself, I mean true poverty, which are people who beg for money on the streets or who are homeless or who don't have family and so on and who really have a hard time. Instead, we're going to be talking about people who earn the minimum wage. I mean, that's not really being poor, because you can live quite well in Spain on the minimum wage. But that's the direction I want to take with the video. So, the minimum wage in Spain versus a good salary in Cuba. What can you do in Spain versus what can you do in Cuba? Here, the minimum salary in Cuba is a professional salary, just so you can see the big differences. Here we have, for example, Greta, who studied accounting, right?
Economics.
Yes, economics and accounting in Cuba. What was your salary there?
At first, they hadn't raised salaries yet like they did later. I was making about 500 or 600 pesos, yes.
But in dollars at that time, how much would that be? When the dollar was at 25?
Like $20.
$20, I think earning more than $20 is very hard in Cuba.
No, I was privileged, yes, because I also work in healthcare, and people in Cuba who work in healthcare and education have a slightly higher salary.
But even with that, it still wasn't enough for much, was it?
No, it wasn't enough for anything. Not for much, no, for nothing.
What could you actually buy with your salary in Cuba? What did you spend it on until it was gone?
Well, not much, honestly. Going to a store. No, back then there was no MLC. Getting the groceries, buying some food like chicken or ground meat, which is the basic stuff in Cuba. You couldn't buy yourself.
For example, clothes or anything like that?
Not even a phone or a camera or clothes or going out to an expensive place. None of that was possible.
For example, when I lived in Cuba and graduated from university, salaries had already increased. They said they would raise them. And a lot of people thought they would be able to buy more things. But this brought with it incredible inflation. After finishing my mandatory post-graduation service, I was placed in a well-paying company.
Look, I was earning pretty well compared to some of my colleagues, but even so, my salary didn't reach $30 a month.
So to speak, with how the dollar is today, and me, the most incredible thing is that the prices over there are even more expensive than here in Spain. So when I graduated, I did earn quite a good salary. But still, just on food, your whole life goes into it, everything in Cuba, just on food. People prioritize food. People lack clothes and other necessities because they prioritize food. Their entire salary goes toward food, which you might not believe. You have to be there, you have to live it to understand it, but this is the reality. Everything goes into food. And the prices are, right now, they're through the roof. I mean, how do you accept that a doctor in almost every country in the world, it's sad, almost everywhere. I think there are people here who don't know that. That's sad in nearly every country.
Or
almost all, I think.
There are people here who don't know that.
Doctors have a good salary, a good position because it's a profession and they deserve it.
A lawyer or a teacher deserves it too. And it's incredible. Like in Cuba, if you work in a cafe or a restaurant,
you make money painting nails. I have friends
doing keratin treatments.
Yes, my friends. Many who studied with me are painting nails and making more money than they would as engineers. Engineer, how sad is that? Exactly. That seems unbelievable. So obviously, a doctor, let's use a doctor as an example. Their salary isn't even $30. Now, how much does rent cost? How much does food cost nowadays? Imagine that. My family was telling me, obviously in Cuba, because I asked them so I know what things are really like because
things change daily since you left.
Even more. Since I left, many things have changed. For example, now there are many small and medium-sized businesses that allow foreign imports. I mean, they're importing foreign products into the country. And then they say there's a blockade. Where is the blockade? In fact, a lot of the products being imported by these small and medium-sized businesses, many of them private and independent, but the prices are sky high. I asked my mom, I send my mom some euros and I say, but that's not enough for you to buy things? Because, for example, with 100 euros here, I can do a huge grocery shopping. And that's even with prices going up. Exactly. But over there in Cuba, you can't. Yes, my mom was telling me, imagine that a doctor's salary is 5,000 pesos. And a carton of 30 eggs costs you 3,000 pesos, 3,000 pesos.
A bar of ground peanut candy costs about 500 pesos.
Imagine that I bought it, I was shocked. Now imagine buying a carton of eggs, 30 eggs in Cuba. That's already more than half of your salary, honestly.
How can a third world country be more expensive than a first world country?
There are memes out there that say Cuba is a country with the salaries of Haiti and the prices of Dubai. And it's true, it's super expensive, really expensive. I mean, a carton of eggs already costs you more than half your salary, and how do you make sense of that? Me? Well, I know it's like that because I lived there a year ago and things were already the way they are now, but now they're even worse. So, it's unbelievable, and it's not surprising that with the ration book, they don't even sell you rice anymore. Do you remember the ration book? I mean, what the government gives you every month, like rice and beans, they don't give you anymore. You have to buy them. Every month they take away more things because there's nothing left for the ration book. Now everything is kind of private through small businesses.
I think it's what you can afford in any currency.
I think that's the good thing because in many state supermarkets you can only pay in dollars, in foreign currency. Your salary is worthless. Here's some context to help you understand how professionals live in Cuba and why I described my life there to you. Even my parents, being professionals, have a very humble, very simple life. Because they can't afford a lot of things. For example, they can't afford to buy a lot of food. They can't afford to buy a piece of clothing. We have the same clothes for years and years because we can't buy anything else, you know? Because even if there is something, there's not enough money. A pair of pants, a jacket like this one, for example, which cost me 19 euros. This in Cuba would cost, I can tell you, more than 50, and that's obviously not. It's way over a salary, because I already told you that salaries don't even reach 30 euros. In fact, when I left Cuba, I gave all my clothes to my sisters and they were very happy. Because giving clothes as a gift is a big deal. It's a gift that's really needed. Clothes, shoes, all those kinds of things. Even the simplest little thing. Giving a bottle of oil is a big gift and people are really grateful for it. So just think about how people live over there. Greta, I also wanted to mention, like you also realize, here you are in Spain, for example, we're in the city now, and you see that most people live with dignity, right?
Yes.
Because in Cuba, you really see the difference a lot, between people who have money and those who don't. Supposedly it's socialism, but people live in extreme poverty. Many people here.
Just now we were having coffee and someone came to ask us for money and that person doesn't seem, I told Anita, they don't seem
like it.
Are you poor in Cuba? It's a shame because of those clothes. That man dressed better than many in Cuba.
Exactly. And it's the fact that, for example, here, I see that most of the people you see on the street, they seem to be doing okay. I mean, they live with dignity. They're not...
You don't see them with their salary?
With their salary, exactly. It's not like... It's true that sometimes, for example, in Madrid, you see a lot of people asking for money. But the vast majority...
All of it entirely.
It's like that worldwide, but in Cuba, poverty is much more visible. Of course, these countries are unrelated. There will always be someone who tells me, oh, don't compare, it's not the same. And it's true, it's not the same. But the point of this video is to show that being a professional over there and earning minimum wage here is totally different. It's better to have a minimum wage here and now. Let's talk about Spain, the minimum wage, and our expenses. Let's look at the expenses. Let's see what expenses we have.
But there is a comparison since we don't spend the same amount.
And what if we do? Like, can a minimum wage be enough for us as individuals? Let's see how it goes. And well, obviously now we're going to talk about our lifestyle in Spain and with a minimum wage what you can actually afford. Obviously I'm not going to talk about luxuries like clothes, for example, or trips, Spotify, Netflix, those are a bit more of a luxury. Then I'm going to talk about the most essential expenses, the ones you really have every month, and we'll see if it's enough or not. I think we're going to honestly tell you here what we spend per month in Spain. Let me say these are basic expenses since, for example, Gretel buys many clothes and also covers the kids' costs. Yes, that's the reality.
You buy a lot of clothes, you treat yourself to that luxury here, which you couldn't do in Cuba.
To look good in videos, I keep chasing sales despite the struggle.
And you also have the expenses for the girls, which you're not counting. You're counting as if you were still alone. Exactly, just to give an idea, but maybe you should also talk about, maybe in one of your videos, what are your expenses like now with the girls?
Those expenses are much higher because
Your expenses went up. Are you saying that when you were alone?
as individuals, no, but when I was alone, I spent much less than 100 on food.
Because of reality. Well, obviously Spain is a first world country. It's true that many people complain about salaries, I agree. Well, everyone lives their own reality, and many people from Spain are going to work in other countries that pay a little bit more. However, in my experience here, after a year, it's not like I have extra money or anything like that.
Because I'm not going to tell you anything.
But I think that with a minimum wage, if you have basic expenses, you can live, you know?
It's not like you're struggling all month. You can even manage your money because here there are also options. For example, not all milk is the same. There's a wide variety of milk. You can buy the cheapest one. Exactly.
You have cheap and expensive options, which our country lacks. Here, prices depend on the country and community, but in our country, you only get what's available. If it's expensive or cheap, that's it.
For example, when you go to Mercadona, Carrefour, or any supermarket, they always have special promotions or low prices.
Exactly. There are expensive supermarkets and there are cheap supermarkets. There are expensive options and there are cheap options. There's something for every budget in life. VRD now, if you want to be much more entrepreneurial, have a business, prosper much faster, and you decide to leave Spain, well, that's your personal decision. Of course, we've only been here for a year, so we're not the most experienced, but it's been a year since we arrived here. I can say that maybe with one salary, being a single person, or maybe a couple, which is my case, we are a couple with one salary with
Both of us.
normal salaries. Yes, it is possible, and yes, we can live. We have been able to live this whole year, not in luxury, but quite normally, with a good quality of life. I'll share my expenses, and I have a video on my channel about it. But well, some things have changed in my expenses, but more or less, I'm going to tell you about the basic expenses. Here, the most expensive thing you're going to have is rent. It's the apartment. That's the most expensive thing you can pay for. I live in a small town here in Galicia, and I pay 430 euros for rent. Hi, ik heb I pay very little for electricity. Last month, I paid 31 euros for electricity, and I pay for water every 3 months, 40 euros gas. I use about 2 gas cylinders a month, and each one costs me 20 or 21 euros, so let's say gas is 40 euros. For food, since there are 2 of us, I spend quite a lot on food. I spend between 300 and 400 euros on food. I forgot about my little dog's food. I spend 70 euros on my little dog's food. And the internet, I pay 20 euros by myself. So in total, what I calculated is that I spend 921 euros and the minimum wage is 1,000 or 1,080 euros. So how much would you have left? So I have very little left to live on with these expenses I mentioned. But we're talking about the minimum wage, being someone who earns the minimum wage. In our case, at home, we don't earn the minimum because my boyfriend doesn't earn the minimum either. He earns about 1,200 and something, which is like the middle one. I think with salaries, there's one that's like 15 payments and another with 12 payments. It's something like that.
And with 20 payments too? No.
No, I don't know. Maybe something like that. I didn't have much left, but I can buy a pair of pants, right?
No, but you can save more and I can save.
I can save a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Even if it's not much. It's true that there are other countries where you can save a lot more. But here you can make a living, which is the point of this video. Something that doesn't happen in Cuba. Now, Greta, tell us about your expenses.
Let's see, my biggest expense is rent. I pay 550 euros. It doesn't really bother me, but it was what I could find.
But you live in the city and pretty central. That's really good. Your apartment is cheap because you live on the 5th floor without an elevator. That's it. I don't know, without an elevator, and you have to fly. Well,
550 for the apartment, then I pay for gas. I put 30 because I use about 2 gas cylinders a month and each cylinder costs 15 euros.
it costs you 15, it costs me 21, the one I buy for me.
No, 15 with a few extra cents.
It's just that you see there are very different prices. Not everything has the same price.
Then for electricity, I have 15 euros 15 and some change. Sometimes it varies. It goes up to 21.15, but it's always around that price. People say, you don't pay that, jerk, but I do pay that.
Now with the girls, you pay 15 euros?
Also 10 and some change because I save.
Well,
I'm not sure, but I don't think that'll be bad for me. Let me say it differently.
it's just that there's still heating in the house, right? I have heating and sometimes I turn it on, sometimes I don't turn it on at all.
Just a TV, nothing else. For food, I put 200 euros because, well, I think that's about right. And for internet, I put 33 euros.
You pay 33 euros for your internet, right?
But it's just that the internet and the,
How much do you spend in total on the fiber and line?
like 30, yes, this 33.
Something. No, not anymore. In total, you spend...
My total expense is 828 euros.
She spends less than I do. And look at me.
Less, how much is the minimum wage?
1,080
I have 252 left.
euros. Can you buy a Sara de Arriba outfit? Still, we need to consider that we have other expenses too.
I have to save, exactly.
I mean, we end up having other expenses too because, for example, we go out to eat, you know?
We also invest in the videos here.
We invest in videos and trips here because...
We pay for those trips ourselves. No one pays for our ticket. No. Well, in my case, yes, because I've had subscribers who have invited me, but...
Many people invite me too.
But also...
The goal is seeing that it was enough for you. That's life.
Is that enough for me? In Cuba, we already pay rent.
5,000 pesos.
Not anymore. In Cuba, some people pay rent.
No, because many people live with relatives for years since they clearly can't afford their own place. When I was renting in Cuba, rents were super expensive. They're around $100 now. Imagine, rents are $100 and you earn $30. People often wonder, how do they manage in Cuba? Someone recently asked me, how?
You have to improvise and do whatever it takes.
You have to invent, that's the word, improvise. Selling things, starting a business, does that make it illegal?
For something?
Yes, because many businesses are illegal, like selling clothes.
Playing the lottery, I don't know. Selling products.
Buying and reselling, especially reselling, that's better.
This is already a more professional business. Not professional, more like legal. Doing nails, hairdressing, selling hairdressing services.
A lot of professionals choose to do that. Look, I have a friend who's an engineer and she's doing nails because it gives her more money. Literally, it's true.
It's like you feel that you studied for nothing, yes.
My family always told me to study so I could become someone in life.
And everyone else too. Oh, Gretica, go for it. Are there any criticisms? Were you about to graduate? I just don't know what. Everyone was so happy. I sometimes worked as an economist in Cuba, but my salary was terrible. When I started working as a YouTuber, I said I make more as a YouTuber than as an economist, so why should I be an economist if I can make videos on YouTube?
These were our expenses in Spain. I didn't record the goodbye, so I'm adding it here while editing.
Every time I record a video with someone and you all watch it, you tell me, Anita, why do you interrupt each other? Gretel and I are just talking in the video like we would in a cafe having a normal conversation.
And we interrupt each other, I don't know why, but well, it's fine, it's not a big deal.
Obviously, the topic of this video, which is comparing living conditions when you're poor in Spain and when you have a good salary in Cuba, is a very complex topic and depends on too many factors. I mean, this isn't general, this is just from our experience, and both scenarios have significant challenges and differences. Just because of the country, since the countries have nothing to do with each other, Spain is completely different. Even though a minimum wage can be considered low, very low compared to the cost of living.
Well, the country has a fairly developed infrastructure, efficient public services, access to quality healthcare, and a wider range of job and professional opportunities.
Which is obviously not the case in Cuba, and there is also a social safety net that provides protection to people with low incomes.
By contrast, in Cuba, being a professional can mean having a very high level of education and training.
However, Cuba's economic and political system has its own limitations. As you all know, although the country offers free health and education services, lately it leaves much to be desired. And access to goods and services can be very limited or simply non-existent due to the shortages and the poor economy in my country. It's also important to highlight that quality of life and each person's level of personal satisfaction are very individual things. That's something inside each of us. I've already said I speak from my own experience and what I've learned living in two different countries. It depends on your priorities and goals, so that's it from me. Don't forget to subscribe, give it a like, join this family, and leave a super thanks if you like the video and want to give me a little extra gift that YouTube offers. I really appreciate it because all of that motivates me to keep making videos. And there are lots of surprises coming soon. So bye! Let's finish the editing now. I'll put this part in there and we'll finish editing the video.